Good morning and welcome to the April 15th, 2024 edition of the Metallic Silhouette Society podcast, Pod Blast. This will be a quick update covering some of the things recently. This is a snapshot in time, so if you tune into this later in the future, if it's still up, it really only pertains to things in April 2024. But it'll give you some insight. The name of this podcast, Pod Blasts, we're going to separate into a couple sections. First one is Tempests in a Teapot, because there's too many words to type. It's going to be far easier for me to just give this out in podcast form. I've been on the phone a lot with people over the last week or so. Telephones, emails, text messages. It's a lot. There was one day in particular I was on the phone so much that my arm cramped the next day from holding the phone so long. I know the people who tune into the podcast are more of your hardcore Silhouette Society folks who want to know the ins and outs of what's going on and why things are the way they are. And it's just far easier for me to speak it. It's going to be a lot easier for everyone to hear, understand, and interpret. There's no... you can hear my voice and understand what I'm saying. You're not going to misconstrue anything because I type it a certain way, which has been something I'm accused of a lot, but that's okay. The next section, the second section will be called The Long Haul, and the last section will be The Way Forward. And here we go, Tempests in a Teapot. Why is the Facebook portion of Metallic Silhouette Society on temporary hold? I mean, if you tune into this podcast, you probably are on the Facebook group and you know that there was some, I don't know what you want to call it, controversy, contrived controversy is what I'm thinking of at this point. And I will just tell you off the top of my head, and this is my thoughts, and it's based on facts now. When I first heard what was going on and people started texting me and emailing me, I sort of bought into a couple people telling me that this was some sort of a vast conspiracy theory. And I bought that, hook, line, and sinker for the first probably 24 hours. And I was sure that they were probably right. Then probably within the next 24 hours after that, so we're probably talking about 2 days after all of this BS, I started really thinking to myself, who gains in all this? Why would somebody do this? It doesn't make any sense. It's just stupid and ridiculous, and none of it makes sense. So I kind of, I put that concept aside and just went about my way. Things were not improving. I put big blocks of members onto post approval, which is that's just standing operating procedure at Facebook. If you literally go in and look at their memos on conflict management, and that's exactly what it says to do, put people on post approval. If you have to shut the whole group onto post approval, that's just their normal way of doing things. And while we're on that subject of Facebook and how Facebook sort of operates, if somebody says something nasty and you report the post, that's a good thing. But then when you add that extra tag on there that it's like harassment or something like that, there's a couple extra tags. I can't remember exactly what they are. That bumps everything up in Facebook's, hierarchy of throttling the group down. And it does, it does damage to the traffic in the group. It's happened a bunch of times. I'm not mad at anybody for doing it. They did exactly what Facebook tells them to do. When prompted, they hit the button and it comes up as a flagged post for whatever the different things are, threats and harassment. But when you do that, it's way quicker to get things shut down via Facebook than it is just flagging a post. Whatever, it's the way they operate. We're playing on their ball field. If there's an alternative to Facebook that gets the same amount of people looking at posts and learning about silhouette, I will take it any day, but I have not seen anything that comes even close. So people always say, oh, you're on Facebook and you're on YouTube. We don't use those. Well, I don't know how to help you. If you come up with a different, social media platform that does a better job, let me know. We'll move on to that one. But anyway, so with the group essentially turned off, put on hold, I'm able to go through and really, take the time, because time is my big thing. I run a business, I have a farm, homeschool, all the other stuff. Promoting silhouette is like down on my list. It's important to me, but it's not something I can sit around spending 8 hours a day on. I just can't. Over last week, like I said, so many phone calls, people texting me, people having long discussions that were actually very, very useful. But I can't do that all the time. So the Facebook group gets put on hold for now. It, in theory, comes back on Patriots Day. I picked that just out of the blue because it's Patriots Day. I'm from Massachusetts. I like Patriots Day. That's the way it is. Now, how what form does it come back when I put it back on? It may be post-approval for everybody and everything, just to keep my life sane. Now, how that affects the commenting flow, I don't know. I'm going to have to see as we go through. I don't think it throttles the comments. Actually, I know it doesn't because of what we did the other day last week. So if you get put on post-approval, or if you see you're on post-approval, don't get hurt feelings because of it. Now, I'm going to break down some of the commentary and some of the things that the feedback that I got. We'll call it feedback. We can call it hate mail. We can call it random acts of violent, virile hate. I don't care. And that's something you got to learn. There's several things you're going to learn about me in this podcast. And one of those things is I really don't give a crap what you think. I'm just that kind of person. I'm a happy warrior. I continue to be a happy warrior. And, getting into piss and moaning matches with me just doesn't affect me. It's just ridiculous. But I'm going to blend some of those comments in together in this giant blender, mix master that is my brain. So don't come back to me later and say, well, I didn't say that. That's not an exact quote. No, because I'm saying things that multiple people said, mixing them together and trying to barf them out into the podcast in a way that people will hear and understand. And one of those things is people got all kinds of upset because they got put on, post-approval. One of the ways to try to figure some of these things out, like I said, is Facebook their SOP, conflict mediation is to put blocks of people on post-approval. That's what you do. You look at the people who are, in action operating at that time, put them on post-approval so you see what's going on. So I see the posts before they go out. And you know what? All those people on post-approval, I let them all out. I let all the ones that were insulting me out. I let all the ones that said I was doing a terrible job out. I put them right out there. I don't care. I literally, it doesn't bother me. You can insult me all day long. I don't give a crap. I'm that kind of person. It's just the way it is. Another of the frequent flyer commentary is, and this one's crazy, that I have some sort of rivalry with this person or that person. And, you gotta, obviously these people don't know me. And that's okay, because I don't travel in the social circles as far as silhouette goes, so you probably don't know me. I am not in a rivalry with anybody who's a masterclass shooter who can win national championships. I'm at best, on my best day when the planets align and there's eclipse, I can maybe, score into the AAA range. That's it. That's why I do what I do. My contribution to improving silhouette and getting more people shooting silhouette is to use the tools that I know how to use as far as sports marketing, because that's where I come from, to improve the sport of silhouette. Somebody may have a rivalry with me on the drag strip, but not at the silhouette range. Especially when it comes to big matches where I'm just, happy to be there, and I do even lousier at the big matches. So that's kind of just silly. Let's see some of the other things. Okay, so we get back to this vast conspiracy, which I didn't believe at first. Oh, no, I should say I definitely believed it at first. I was pissed. I went from 0 to pissed in about 0.5 seconds because people were just acting like animals. So then after things get put on post-approval, people aren't even happy with that. They're complaining about being on post-approval. And there was 2 or 3 people complaining they were being on post-approval. And, either through the comments or direct messaging them, I said, I pointed out to them that they haven't posted in, well, first of all, I let the posts through, the comments get through anyway. And none of them had posted in 6 months, 8 months, a year. So, what are you complaining about if you don't post? But I put the whole thing on hold because it just got to be, I can't sit there all day watching my computer monitor. Most of this kicked off at about 3 a.m. my time, Central, United States. Luckily for me, I was awake because I live on a farm and I have to get up and get going. So maybe 2 days into this, I shut the group, put the group on hold. I didn't shut it down. I put it on hold. So it sits there. No one can post. But that gives me time. That gives me time to sort through and sift through some of these things. And so now I'm 48 hours into it probably. And I'm reviewing some of the things that even though they don't show up, I can still find them. And I can see what happened. And I took a lot of screen grabs and stuff like that too, so I can see. That's easier for me to see who the players are without trying to go through, wasting a lot of time. And now that I see kind of what was going on, and I see that I notice when I go through some of these and I double check some of these profiles, and there's a lot of fake profiles in that group. There's a lot of people that there's no way that these are either the actual people using actual names. They're using names of people who are actually silhouette shooters. And those silhouette shooters have other profiles. So, and they're not even on the group. So one person I was able to actually contact and they said, no, I'm not in that group. All right, thanks. That person got deleted. That fake profile got deleted. There's a whole bunch of people that have been removed. And I don't think a lot of them, I think many of them were not real people. Who they were, now that's going to be fun to try to find out if I can. Several days later, because I put in requests for support at Facebook, someone advised me on what the exact right words to use were in those support for requests for support, and I was able to get in touch with an actual human for the first time probably ever. I don't think I've ever gotten in touch with an actual human at Facebook. And supposedly they're going to get back to me with more data that they can get that I can't get, as far as who some of these people with the spoof accounts are, is what she was calling them, pretending to be people that they might not be. But then in some of these accounts that are obviously not real, but are getting into arguments with people and calling people literally, they went full R-rated on some of the stuff that I had to get rid of. Some of these accounts, when I looked onto, they answered the questions. I have some basic questions up there when you join. They are silhouette specific questions, and unless they just magically got the numbers right, they actually shoot silhouette and they know how to answer the right questions, so I just approve them. I tend to, when I do approvals, I tend to look at the date the account was created. And if it was created less than a year ago, I usually don't let them in, unless they know the answers to the basic silhouette questions. It's a couple of numbers that we all know. And if they know those numbers, I'll let a brand new account in, because they obviously know silhouette, so they're there for a reason. Again, time. I don't have time to double check every single account to see if it looks like a real account or not. But there were some that definitely didn't look real. And like I said, some were spoof accounts, using names of real people that might have actually looked like real accounts, but they weren't real accounts. But anyway, we'll see if Facebook can get me back some of that data. That would be interesting to know. I don't know if that would be anything I would ever share with the group, just because all of this seems to stir up all kinds of discontent. So I'm trying to be a nice guy and kind of just put an end to some of that discontent. Because even though I don't care how you feel about me, I still kind of want everybody to sort of just build up the sport of silhouette. You can hate me all you want. I don't care about that. As long as I continue on my, the long haul way forward of developing the sport of silhouette, that's all I care about. Let's see. So as I got further into it, and this will be the last part on this Tempest in a Teapot section, as I got further into it and looked at that there are spoof accounts, there are phony accounts, there are people arguing with each other that seem to be, it's almost might be the same person arguing with each other, which is weird. Now, do I say it's a massive conspiracy theory? No, I don't. Do I think was actual intent to screw up the Facebook group? Absolutely, 100%. I think there was actual intent. It was done for a reason. There were people stirred up on purpose. Now, whether or not some of those people are just jumping in because they're easily manipulated, I don't know. I think that's part of it. There's a lot of folks. I don't know what it is about silhouette shooters. A lot of them seem to have kind of thin skins. I don't know what that is. And you're firing firearms. You should, be a little tougher. But that's neither here nor there. Everybody who shoots is okay in my book. As long as you shoot silhouette, you're okay. The rest of the stuff we can figure out. So do I believe there was intent in some of this? I believe there was intent in all of it, 100%. Who it benefits doesn't make, it doesn't make any sense to me at all. Why somebody would try to do that? Why shut down a group that I'm the one who shut it down. Why bring me to the point where I have to put the brakes on it when there's actually things going on in silhouette that should be covered and people should be able to see it? If they don't see it in my group, where are they going to see it? They're going to go to Steel Chickens, which gets almost no traffic, which that makes me sad because I used to spend so much time on that, a decade ago. And it is a fun place, but then that's kind of the example of what I don't want the Facebook group to turn into. I don't want there to be a bunch of R-rated pissing and moaning and picking on each other. I don't want it. It's not going to happen. And that's one thing you got to realize about the Facebook group and the things that you don't know about me. And this is, if I have to be a dictator, I'll be a dictator. That Facebook group, even though it's on Facebook and it's their company, whatever, you're a guest in my group. You're a member, you're a guest in my group. and I expect you to behave. I'm going to treat people as best I can, depending on the circumstances. I'm also not going to give people 1,000 chances. I'm just not. There isn't enough time in the day for that. And I said I dumped I dumped a lot of people out of the group. Whether some were real and some weren't, I don't know. One guy I dumped out of the group was somebody I've known since before I shot Silhouette. I probably known him close to 20 years. I'm trying to think. A long time ago, like I said, before I shot Silhouette. And he was like, yeah, if I gotta go, I gotta go. And I told him, you can't come on there. This isn't a bar in Boston where you can just, rip into somebody like that. We got to kind of chill a little bit sometimes, whether or not you like a person or not, I don't care. You got to kind of take it easy. And when it comes to, oh, well, you should let this person back and let that person back. And, should I let everybody back? What would you do if you had somebody basically, on your lawn? I'm not even going to use that analogy because that's going to be R-rated. But no. So we go on to, and this is just basically, this is my after action report, but it's not quite an after action report because I don't have quite all the data yet. I hope to. And part of what I'm doing, because I'm not involved in the Silhouette social world, is I'm, using the data I find to help me go forward, the way we talk about it, and what I used to do, building and analyzing a comprehensive human terrain map. I'm trying to find out who these groups are, who the cliques are, who sits at the cool kids table. Not that I care, but it helps me know who's who, who's messing with who, why they're messing, and I can try to put an end to all of this in the future quicker. But then again, we come down to do I have all this time in the day to be putting out forest fires, when they occur? Some of this stuff happens when I'm, doing stuff with animals, and I just don't have time to waste it on Facebook. So even though I'm building that comprehensive human terrain map, there's one of those key words there, key phrases. And this goes again into the things you don't know about me, and don't assume that you know. I rarely go to any of these big Silhouette matches because I have other things to do, basically. And when I do, you'll notice some people have, because when they call me and talk to me, they've noticed I don't socialize with people. I don't do the things where I socialize with the little groups and cliques, and it's just not my thing. Now, for me, a lot of that has to do with the fact that I don't drink alcohol. I drink 3/4 of a beer and I pass out. So a lot of these groups, that's a factor. So that's not my thing. I'm there to go, to have fun, to shoot. I'm here to knock down metal animals. I'm not here to socialize. I'm not here to drink booze. Not my thing. And I mean, I live in the middle of nowhere. I'm basically a hermit. I talk to horses more than I talk to humans. So socializing with humans is not necessary to my well-being. So let's see. So we can go into part 2, the way forward. Now, with the Facebook group being down, I'm able to get a whole lot of other things done. And I have been literally flipping switches, getting things together. I will probably maybe turn on the Facebook group for a second, put in a little post, a little link. I have a basic rudimentary website up. I have a basic online score entry form. It looks okay on the web version. It's really meant to be a mobile phone version. It works really good on the mobile phone. I think that's the way most people will use it, is on their phone at the range, or as soon as they get into communications range and get signal. You can directly send me your scores. It goes straight to one of the ways that I keep track of things. Auto populates. It's awesome. Then I have the data. Keeping track of scores, I have some of that up. I'd like it to look a little better, but it's good for now. All of these things are very basic. I'm not spending a lot of money on it right now because there's no money coming in to cover it, so I'm not spending any money to implement it. This is the way going forward. I'm a happy warrior. You're not going to stop me. I have literally, if you don't know, I've literally been doing this with Silhouette for 12 years. 9 on Facebook, 11 years on YouTube. This all came from sort of a little meeting we had one day in between matches at some place, which I'm just going to remain nameless for now because I don't want you all going after them. And that's another thing. If we can go back to the original Tempest and a Teapot section, going forward, there will no longer be any group experts on the Facebook group. And that makes me sad, angry, and wanting to punch someone in the face. Because for some reason, people decided to go after the group experts and give them a hard time. Those are people that are only there to help you out. Why would you do that? That makes no sense at all. And they're all nice people. I mean, what the heck? So I'm going to eliminate all group experts. Group experts should still help people out, but it's not their duty to have to try to answer for the things that I do. Again, I'll be the dictator if I need to. And when it comes to the Facebook group, I am. We've been doing this. We've been talking a lot. I tried to do it with other people. It didn't work out. As far as trying to push forward the things that I know that I need to push forward as far as Silhouette. Now, if you go back 12 years ago, you'll remember if someone that was beating that dead horse of Silhouette is a dying sport, they'd kind of be correct. And that's what we were looking at, is how do we stop the dying? And then second, I think we've gotten to that point, and now how we build up Silhouette. And I think we're definitely getting on that track in my area because I've been working pretty hard at it. And I think we're putting things in place that will make it a lot easier to keep track of scores. It'll make it easier for people to have the portability to bring their scores. It's the old logbooks, just in a digital format is all it is. You keep track of your own scores. Now this has, people say, oh, you're going after the NRA. I don't care about the NRA. I've been a member of the NRA for a long time. They should do their thing. They should keep doing their thing. They should do more of their thing. But what I do is separate from them. It has nothing to do with them. If all things were correct, I wouldn't have to do any of it. So, in part of that talking to people on the way going forward, man, I would say one thing, it's been really aggravating dealing with all this stuff, but at the same time, it's been super encouraging. Because a lot of people have they just pick up that phone, they just call me, which shows you something else. For all these people who want to sit on their keyboards and insult me and bitch and moan at me, whatever, it's amazing how many people can find my phone number and talk. And it's so much easier to just talk than it is to try to type things out. You get an understanding of really what's going on. And so I learned a lot. I learned a lot towards my comprehensive human terrain map of Silhouette. And I learned a lot about what people want, what people need. There's several people who seem to know exactly where I'm going with this, even though I haven't told them. This is the way forward. You'll learn little tidbits as I implement things. Anything I have turned on right now as far as the score keeping and score records is very rudimentary. Over time I will make it look fancy, and I'll make it lovely, and you'll all love it. But the main thing is you'll have the ability to if for no other reason, let's say you use every resource at your disposal. You have the NRA keep track of your scores through the match director sending them in. However well that works out for you. Hopefully it works out for some people. But you also, can utilize my system. You have a backup. You have portability. If something totally goes wrong, you can go right in there and look it up yourself. It's not trying to do phone calls and emails to someone else and try to figure it out. You can physically go on yourself and look it up. And that'll be nice. And that's where we're going. This is this long haul, long-term plan. It continues. It's not going anywhere. And that is the end of my super exciting podcast, Pod Blast update for April 15th, 2024. Go out there and shoot some steel, get some practice in. It's a beautiful day here in West Tennessee. It's going to be 85 smoking degrees, and I'll probably shoot some air rifle. Have a good night.